Are you a woman of faith who is struggling to navigate your current season of life? Do you feel like life is just happening to you instead of for you? My name is Jill Pack. I'm a certified life coach and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I want you to know that no matter your season or circumstance, it is possible to create a more joyful life. And I would love to show you how. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Seasons of Joy podcast. This is episode number 44, entitled BHS Besties. I am so excited to bring this episode to you. This is one that has been on my mind for quite some time, and it is one that is really special to me. And so I'm excited to share this conversation with some women that have known me since I was a young girl. And the effect that they've had on my life is amazing. They are amazing and strong women, and that is a gift that I feel like I've been blessed with throughout my life. I am surrounded by amazing, strong women. Women that are making a difference in the world. Women that are kind, that are courageous, and committed to doing good. So with that, I am excited to share this conversation that I recently had with my high school friends. I have known these women since I was 15 years old. We have been through a lot of seasons together, and I just thought it would be fun. This is just kind of a fun episode where we sit around a kitchen table and we talk. And we talk about the power of friendship. Having those women in your life that lift and support and cheer you on. Life coaching is great. Don't get me wrong. I love life coaching. I think everyone needs a life coach. But the other thing we need is a friend. We need women in our life that are in our corner, that are cheering us on, and that we can go to, and who will cry with us, who will laugh with us, who will joke with us, who will agree with us sometimes, right? Just those women that know us so well. And this is that conversation. This is a group of women that I love dearly, that know me well. And I am so excited to share them with you today. So here is my interview with my BHS Besties, and I'm going to let them each introduce themselves. And this episode is dedicated to our friend that we lost in 2022, Angela Beaird Craven. This is for you, my friend.
All right. Hello, my name's Cindy Warner. I have 4 kids. All are adults. Most of them still live with me, so that's a topic for another day. I am a registered nurse. I graduated from the University of Utah 30 years ago. Currently work at Huntsman Cancer Hospital as a nurse case manager, and I absolutely love it. My very favorite pastime is going to Cabo with my girls.
Yeah. I'm Lori Hicks. I am divorced, so I'm single right now. I'm a mom of 5. I have had kind of a change of careers, I guess. I've been in the arts for a long time. I teach and coach ballroom dancing. And now I'm also adding marketing and development to that with the restoration company. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about me.
We'll add as we
it.
go. It's all good.
That's all I got.
I thought about that. I was going to say it.
You could say that louder.
I can't. Okay.
Cindy, what were you going to
I
add?
was going to add, I forgot to say that I'm divorced. That is something that I wear very proudly. I love my independence.
My name is Wendy Utley. I am wife to an amazing husband of 32 years, Chad. We have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. I am a nurse practitioner and work in the specialty of ENT.
My name is Tiffany Evans. I am single, never been married, no children, no grandchildren. I've been in higher education for my career. I went to college at 18 and loved it so much I never left.
I'm Sherry Coons. I am married. One of the few, I guess. I have 3 kids. We waited a long time to have kids, and so my kids are younger. I'm an attorney. I practiced for 10 years and I don't practice now because my husband is a physician and works like crazy. And so I manage the family.
Awesome.
I just got done skiing all day in massively deep snow and it was awesome.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Stacy Cassell and I am married to Jim, and we've been married for 31 years. And we have 3 kids. They're all grown and married, and we have 4 granddaughters.
I'm Raquel Carter, and I am not married, but I have, how many kids do I have? 6 or 7?
7.
Imaginary children.
We always joke about her
Perfect.
7 imaginary kids.
They're perfect. As I give out my parenting advice, I say, "Mama, children," you know. I don't have any real children, but I do have a real dog who thinks she's a child.
That's true.
She
He is a
is.
child.
She is.
She is a child.
Yes, Scarlett O'Hara. And I am by profession a business analyst. That can mean whatever you want it to mean. And I also, my favorite pastime is going to Cabo. with
Oh,
the
yeah.
ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Most definite.
Awesome.
For sure.
Okay, so I've gathered these women, these amazing women that have been part of my life for many years, since I was 15 years old. And I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to just chat about, again, the power of women in our life and how that affects our life in such powerful, meaningful ways. And so I wanted to tell listeners a little bit of how we met. Tiffany, would you share how we met?
We all
I-
met at
I
different
would-
times. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of these women met in middle school or even some in elementary school
Yeah, that's true.
in
Yeah.
Conwood Heights. I kind of was the loner that was brought into the fold just before our sophomore year of high school. My world kind of was turning upside down. My parents had gotten a divorce and my dad was getting remarried. And I'll never forget, we were at the church and at my dad's wedding. And all of a sudden I needed a break. And so I kind of ran into the bathroom, and I'm not a hyperventilator. I'm not an anxious person or have anxiety, but I just remember just this whole world changing. And all of a sudden coming into the bathroom was one of our dear friends who was actually in the congregation at that time in the ward. And so that is when I met Angie in the bathroom at my dad's wedding when I was about to hyperventilate and vomit. And from there, then high school started, like probably 3 or 4 weeks later. And then I met all these other women.
But my mom was a friend of the lady. So the lady that her dad was marrying had worked for my mom.
Yeah, and
My mom ran a preschool.
And that's all we're gonna say
And-
about that.
And so my mom was going to the wedding, and I think I had met you before because
Were you
played
in the
racquetball.
bathroom?
No, but we had played
Oh.
racquetball because she'd heard about you or
Oh,
something from
anyway.
your dad. Yeah.
So I was very
So we
fortunate.
had met kind of before, yeah,
Maybe.
because we played racquetball or either right after they got married or right before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And from that interaction in the bathroom, my life was changed forever.
Yeah. Well, and Stacy and I met in middle school. I'm trying to think if I knew you guys in middle school.
I don't
I-
remember you in middle
I don't
school.
remember you in middle school either.
Stacy and I.
I remember you, but I didn't
Yeah.
know you well.
Yeah, Raquel and I moved in
When I was in
um
fifth grade,
kitty corner from each other about the same time. You moved in before I did.
but it was the same
But
year.
we- Yeah,
Same
but
year.
so we were 10 years old.
And
Wow.
then Stacy and I knew each other in kindergarten,
Mhm.
and Angie too, and
Yeah.
then Stacy went to a different school,
Yeah.
but Angie and I went all the way through. Oh, and I knew Wendy in middle school.
Yeah, I knew Wendy in middle school.
Yeah, I remember knowing, I knew who Jill was. I didn't know you well.
Mhm.
I knew who Stacy was and Sherry and Cindy and Lori. Raquel, I think I know who you were in middle school as well. I'm pretty sure. But I didn't hang out with any of you. I had one friend who we won't talk about names, but that was the only friend that I had really. And I always remember thinking, I'd look at you, all of these ladies in front of me and think, oh, I wish I was friends with them. So yay, I got to be friends with all of you. But Angie was the one that introduced me to everyone.
So we've all known each other for a really long time. And then was it junior or senior year that the Christmas party started?
Junior.
Your house? Okay. So we have had a Christmas party ever since 1985. Now, not everyone can always come, but a large group gathers every year.
It's
And
occurred every year.
it's occurred
too. It's
every
happened
year.
every single
Yeah,
year.
since 1985. Do the math. Someone,
Hmm.
how many years is that?
35, 36.
Well, we
37,
graduated 35 years ago. 30
36 or 37 then.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
37
long
years. It's a
time.
long
Yeah.
time.
Oh.
And based on our previous
That's amazing.
discussion, you'll probably hear like we've had different things happen over the years. Like some of us had kids and kind of got in the thick of that. So some other people had professions that they've gotten the thick of, but we would always gather at least once a year to reconnect and just to get together. But as time has gone on, we get together a little more often. But that friendship, it just kind of evolved. I don't know. I'd love to hear other people's input on from graduation to maybe say 5 years ago.
Well, I think
Talk about that.
so. I mean, when I look at it as far as the timeline, I know when I think, I wasn't one to have, go into that season of life where you have children, but I know a lot of you did. And we were hitting the arc of that, or, coming around the other side of it. The year we turned 40 was the first year we went on a trip and we went on a cruise. And there were 5 of us, I think, that went on that.
Yeah.
And then, so that was like the first big trip we did. And we still had our Christmas parties and stuff.
Right.
And then when we turned 40, the year we turned 45, we went to Cabo.
Yeah.
And there were 4 of us that went on that
Yeah.
trip.
That's 4.
I was supposed to go, but I
And you
broke my
broke your
ankle.
ankle. Yes, the accident prone one over
Yes.
here, who's the most active, but
Yes.
And then that kind of started I don't know if the very next year we went, but we started doing these trips and it was during one of the trips, and that was the trip I wasn't on, 2019, when that really changed things because you guys started talking. I wasn't on that trip in Cabo, but you guys started talking to Angie. Angie lived in London.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
London.
Yeah.
And you started talking to her on Marco Polo.
Yeah.
And that I think was a huge, shift in everything. And it shrunk our world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just brought everyone, we were basically talking to each other every day
Yeah.
and able to have that loop with Angie back in our lives. And at the time, Angie her health was really bad.
Yeah.
She was having some really significant health struggles. And so it was good. It was a good
Yeah.
thing to rekindle that. So
Yeah.
so from graduation up until kind of that time we started traveling and then doing Marco Polo.
Yeah. I remember I was talking to a friend and they had told me about Marco Polo. and we were in Cabo, and I'm like, we should form a Marco Polo group, and we should reach out to Angie, because she couldn't text because she was in Europe. She could use WhatsApp, or whatever you say.
WhatsApp.
And so
Well, there was a pretty significant time change.
yeah,
Or difference.
yeah,
Difference.
time difference. And so to try to connect with her, because her health, as Raquel said, was really declining, and we were super worried about her, and we wanted to, our purpose was to lift her spirits, to kind of rally around her and encourage her, because she spent a large part of the rest of her life, sadly, in the hospital. So in January of last year, 2022, we lost that friend. But I've told these women with me, Angie gave us a gift. And that was just, our friendship has become deeper and stronger because of her and the opportunity she gave us to connect with her through that way. So I don't know, I'd love to hear other people's perspective about Marco Polo. I just think it's so funny.
I'll go even further, not just pre-Marco Polo in the tech world. Like Sherry was always good, whether she was in Texas or somewhere
Washington.
during the summer or Washington, when you would come into town. Let's go to lunch, let's go to dinner. And then Stacy and I would do theater trips. We'd go to the Utah Shakespearean Festival. We would do Tuacahn. Jill would come. What's that?
Jill would come.
Jill would come. We would see Wendy occasionally. So and it was high school, but yet when we graduated, Angie, myself, and Jill headed up and were roommates and lived in the same dorm. Jill and I lived in the same room, and Jill and I kind of lived in the same community. So we'd occasionally see each other and things like that through university stuff. But so there was always the Christmas party, but for me too, I felt fortunate with Stace and the traveling and just the theater. And we had season tickets to Pioneer and different themes through the years. And so I always felt like a close connection. And I would tell people, I was always telling people, no matter what era it was in my life, how amazing and how fortunate and how blessed I was because of the friends I had in high school. So, and then,
Agree.
2020, go ahead, when 2020 happened, well, 2019, Cabo, and and when I bet you have some thoughts on that too.
Yeah, for sure. So I went away to college with my husband, as Sherry did. We were kind of both in the Midwest at the same time. And so I was off and gone early, and I hit very few of the Christmas gatherings, but still, even with not being there, we always gotten Christmas cards from almost everyone every year. And we would get together occasionally, always going to class reunions. And I'll tell you what, I would not have ever done that had you all not made me go. So I think we really we've had such a huge.
Well, and the truth about it is that the class reunions, we're like the only people that still know each other and still hang out together.
For sure.
And people have gotten to the point, I think, where they know about us hanging out together. But I think it's cool because we're the only ones that still know each other really and are still in contact with each other.
Yeah, it's amazing. People are always stunned at how much we study
all the time. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
You know these people and you actually, have done stuff with them regularly.
Yeah. But I think that the Cabo trips certainly started us on a new level. And then the just having that almost daily, and it really truly has been almost daily interaction for the past almost 3 years, it has just changed the level of our relationships and commitment to one another and closeness and support. It's just been absolutely amazing. It's been a blessing for sure.
I was going to say too, I remember when email came out and Tiff got us all going on email.
Can we mention here that Tiffany's the glue?
Yes, we can, Wendy. Yes, we
Thank
can.
you. Thank you. Tiffany always made sure that everybody had everyone else's numbers. She would email out, well, before email, she would write letters and she would list everyone's name and number and children and husband and make sure that we were all staying in contact. And went with email, same. It was the same thing. I always knew I'd know where everyone is because Tiffany would let me know.
I think it's unusual to meet a group of women so young in life that you don't outgrow, that you
Well, it's because
like
we kept in contact.
yeah, that you still want to be
things.
part
Yeah.
of each other's lives. Like that is really unusual.
Mhm.
And I agree with I think it was what Wendy was talking about. And I know we've discussed this before too, but like just the daily contact of Marco Polo and just kind of like riding with Jill while she's like up in the dark going on a hike or like and then like hearing Rebel pop in and hearing Cindy pop in, hearing Tiff pop in. Like it just makes me feel like I am like you guys are with me all through my day. And I know what you're doing and I know what your life is like.
To go along with that, here's one thing that I kind of noticed like the last few times we've gotten together is we used to like talk a lot about high school memories, reminisce about high school. And I don't think we do that so much anymore.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Still all the cool high school memories, but I think we have more recent experiences together.
Either that or we don't remember.
But I think it's cool because it's not like we're just going to a high school reunion and talking
It's a
about high
different-
school.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
really good.
and it's interesting hearing Wendy and share, and even Lo, the role of the pandemic. During lockdown, I was working, going to, working out, but Polo, I think became more part of the day because I personally had the time. I just remember being in my little community gym and poloing all the time.
Yeah.
Because we had that time. But not only that, I think
Or some of us had school kids that were home.
they were doing school work.
And others are nurses. I was polo in my PPE.
That gave, for me, like, it just gave me time, but also I think just the whole reflection of what's most important and who's most important. And during that time really kind of struck me.
I will say often when I describe our friendships, when at the time that we all met and became close when we were 15, when all of us came together, we were sophomores in high school, and that is not an easy time for anybody. And I know that at that time I needed all of you so much, but I can honestly say that at the point of life I'm in now, I need you even more than I did then.
Me too.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Totally agree. I love having friends who I trust and I know they know me enough and they love me enough that they can give me tough love sometimes. And I have called on you guys to do that. I know. I'll give you some tough love sometimes, when I ask them about things. But I trust you. Like I trust all of you guys because I know you have my best interests and
It's also just nice to know people that have known you.
People love me in spite of myself. You know what I mean?
Like know your whole background.
Know where the bodies are buried.
Girl, all these great quotes. Tell them some of your quotes about how we're stuck with each other. Those quotes.
No, my theory is, even if I'm, at Point of the Mountain or I'm in prison, you're the people that would come visit me. You know what I mean? Like you have to. It's not.
We're stuck in each other. It's too late. You can't get out.
And you may have noticed our quiet one, Stacy.
I'm grateful to have friends that I know I can count on, and I know that will have my back through anything, and that if I have an issue, I can count on every single one of them, and that's comforting, and it makes a difference in life experiences. You're not afraid of things as much, and you just you have peeps
Through thick and thin.
Yeah. Well, and I know we've talked about Marco Polo a lot, and there's some of us that use it more than others, right? But that isn't really even the issue. Like it's so much more than a Marco Polo. It's like a relationship that was forged at 15 and has been strengthened over the years. Marco Polo is just a piece of it. But the connection is just, it's always been there. But I think, especially in light of our life challenges, we're in this mid-season of life and we're all facing hard things. We all have hard things that we're dealing with. And I think that's what makes this friendship even more powerful, is because we do have those people that have our backs as we walk through our valley of the shadow of death.
In 1998, in October, I had a brother that passed, and I'm more of a very private person, like but the only people I really kind of cared to know, I called Stace, and I knew that, and Stace and Jill were, I just remember when you were at the funeral at the cemetery and stuff. And ironically, when we got home from meeting and everything, there was this big plant that was delivered, and it was from all of you guys. And like, my dad kept telling me, you need to call people. And I literally, I did not call. And I feel bad in retrospect, like not calling others, but it was like this group, and that was in 98. And I just remember Stacy, it was great because it was like a 40-minute conversation. And then at the end,
all the way.
That is so sad.
I had my last baby, and then I had gotten pneumonia, and so I was just weeping and wailing to Tiff and all my issues and problems. And then by the end of it, and then she goes, "Oh, there's one more thing I need to tell you." And she told me that Sean had passed, and I was like, "What?"
You let
Wow.
me go on.
I don't know why, that was just where I was in my life at that time. There was no doubt that this was the group of women that I was going to, and then I'll never forget seeing Stace and Jill, and then going home and the big old plant with all the names. So anyway, so it's seasons, but it's been through all the different seasons.
All the seasons. Well, and we've all had, it feels like we all have seasons that are harder than others, but we're all there through each other's seasons.
Yeah, I just think, like, I look around the table at everybody, and I think, like, as everyone's talking and I'm looking at each one of you, and I think every single one of us has shared heartache and tears with each other. And we've all gone through difficult things. And we've also shared so many laughs and private jokes and, so many great times. And I love it. I think that that's a huge part of what makes our friendship so strong. It's like if we were surface friends, and we just talked about all the good stuff, but we don't. Like, we get down and dirty, and you guys know way more about me than you probably ever wanted to know.
But it's always a safe spot, right?
Yes.
It's always a safe spot that we can come back to. And I know that when I have hard things, I can go to a Marco or to a text and go, okay, help. if I'm struggling, or if I just have something completely embarrassing that I've done, or whatever it is, I know that every one of you would be there for me, and no matter what. And it's just I don't know, it's a comforting to know that. And you guys are the only ones that are like that, because it's been such a long time, and so many pieces of our relationship, right, that fit together, that have just bonded us so closely. Amazing.
Amazing.
We've all been through, our different challenges, and it's my turn right now to have my big challenge, and I'm dealing with cancer. And I just know there's no question that you are here for me, and no question. And I mean, Tiffany knows she's my go-to for, I need a ride, or I want someone to come with me to this doctor's appointment, and she'll go. And I know any one of you would do it if you could. And anyway, there's just a huge comfort in that. And I have a hard time reaching out for help, but I have no problem reaching out to you guys. You know what I mean? There's just that comfort there that, it's just like a family. And I know we've called ourselves the family. That's kind of been our little mantra there since
1986.
I mean, it's not always been butterflies and unicorns, we've definitely fought like girls, and and now if we did that, I think it would be pretty funny.
But one thing I will say, and I told my dad this, but I'll never forget a lecture from Blair in like 6th or 7th grade. I know where I was sitting in the house. We're on top of the stairs, and it was the conversation about your friends and choosing your friends, and making sure that the whole concept silly is you are who you roll with. And for some reason, I listened to my parents. I tried to raise them, and at times, it was rough. But listening to that, like, I made a conscious effort. And even though things were changing, and when I met Angie, and then I met all of you, like, I kind of, even at that time, was like, those are some pretty stellar individuals, and probably people that I would like to have in my life. And I would tell people that in college, I remember we had a picture taken our senior year, and whether it was every dorm room, sorority house room, that picture was always up. I'm very grateful for that talk, and for, at that time in my life, it was very important. For me and what was going on, it was a very important time. And just to have such amazing friends, and I was very blessed, very fortunate.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
I had a word pop into my head just as Tiffany was talking. I think it's like a tether, because we still had our individual lives. We did things, we had different experiences, so many different experiences. We're all
For sure.
different in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
right? But there's a tethering. There's just some.
And I think it
thing
gets
that
stronger
connects
as we get
us.
older.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's rare.
I always feel like one thing that every person needs in order to feel safe, to like grow and stretch your wings and try to fly, is you need to feel like a base of support. And there's not a ton of people who I would like bare my soul to, especially not on a recording. Like, I would probably not. I can say, like, you guys are literally the only group of people I would ever do that, because you give me like a safe place and like support, so that I feel like, okay, if I try something and I fail, like, this group will pat my back and be like, it's okay, you're okay. So I feel like that's been a huge blessing for me.
By the way, that is true though. If you tell, even if it's hard to do, and you just have something that you need to tell one person, we all know.
Yeah. And I think we all know that.
Yeah. Yeah, we all know that.
Good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know that we don't have to make that hard phone call for
To-
two.
Yeah.
I know that was on
Yeah.
Marco Polo's when I told you guys I had cancer, and within 20 minutes, I felt like it was within 20 minutes, Tiffany's on my doorstep with flowers. Well, and
Yep.
also I was supposed to go to St. George on
Yeah.
a trip, and I didn't go because I didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And
We
It
had
was
no,
so
and it was on our way home.
yeah, and
Yeah, well, and you guys were in a car and Lori and I were in a car and
Yeah.
we kept posting just ridiculously dorky, like silly
Yes.
stuff.
We
And,
would never.
and I think Wendy's popping on there and all this stuff. And then Ro gets on and is like,
I'm
oh,
like-
it looks like you guys had so much fun and you're still having fun. And I'm so glad. And so I went to the ER and yeah, that's how, and I was like, oh goodness.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
I get this frantic phone call, hysterical Cindy.
I had to call Tiff
didn't see
before
it
I
yet.
called you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then I
I-
was like, let me watch, let me see, yeah,
Oh.
let me see what's going on.
I wasn't, but it's because I was in shock, but
Yeah.
no, I don't know, but it was so comforting though. Like I just knew that this was a soft place to land. You know what I mean? It's just, you just know that. And I have other girlfriends. I have other great girlfriends and they're amazing. And this is just different.
Yeah.
This is just,
It's its own thing.
it is. And there's, you look at all of the things that we've dealt with, especially in the last few years. I mean, how many parents have we lost?
True.
And, it's just, that's the
Mm.
season of life
Yeah,
that we're in,
that's been
is,
hard.
and walking each other through that. And I know we're gonna have more of that. And losing Angie that was
hard.
that was huge. That was huge. And we don't want to lose anybody else too soon. So,
No, we do not.
So one of the things we did when we were in Mexico, we called it Around the Table with Tiff.
every morning.
So that's what we're doing here. It's Around the Table with Tiff.
It is.
But the other thing I love is I think that through our experiences, we've learned lessons and we share them with each other. And I think that's a beautiful thing too, is that even though we're here supporting, cheering each other on, we're also learning in that space
right.
as well. I've been enriched so much by everyone around this table.
And the great thing is there's always someone who goes through it first, but then there's someone else that's done it and been there and can jump in and go, okay, this is what we need to do. Or, Tiffany's going to be there with a flower or a necklace or something, or a crying shoulder, but it's just such a safe space. And there's such wisdom in the experiences that all of us that have had, or at least all of you have had. And it's just so nice to be able to, if I have something come up in my life or my children's life, and I can come to you and go, okay, this is what's going on. What the heck? Where do I go from here? How do I deal with this daughter? How do I deal with this son-in-law? What do I do, when something goes awry? And somebody in the group almost always has either experience in it or some really, really wise and sage advice to help get me through. And maybe it's just that there's a sounding board there, and for me to be able to just get it out and go, okay, this is what's happening, and just to get it off my chest. And like we said, it's a safe spot, and we know that there's no judgment, and that whatever comes out, that we still love each other.
Before we wrap up, is there any final words from anybody else? Anything else anybody wants to say?
My mom passed away. I was super grateful that even though a lot of you were out of town or Raquel was having chemo, that when he came from St. George and Lori and Stace came, and I was super grateful for that.
Yeah.
So I'm super grateful for you guys. It's been the hardest year of my life this year for so many reasons.
I'm just so grateful because you've all kind of said it, but it's the safe space, it's the landing, it's the comfort. And I'm always one that I haven't been very good at communication in some respects. Really? Yeah. I mean, the last few years, because of you all, I think it's been so valuable just for me personally. I'm doing better and being better for
Mhm.
sure. But it's because everyone around this table, and it's just the knowledge of, okay, I have that soft, I think it was you wrote that soft landing, or that someplace to land. And yeah, when it all goes down, and I appreciate that, because I've been one that just
Goes off, move away.
To be fair though, I think we all had periods in our life when we're that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
Right?
Sure.
When we're going through a hard thing, we aren't
Yeah.
always quick to open up and share
Yeah.
everything. So I think we've all kind of experienced that over time. But I'm going to end with this, and this is Tiff's wise words: is be better, do better. And I think that as we are friends and we're gathered around this table talking about this, that's a thing I can say that I leave with every time I interact with this group of women. And we leave each other better than we found each other. And it makes me want to be my best self and to show up in the world in a better way than I did yesterday. And so thank you all for joining me on the Seasons of Joy podcast.
Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you hear, I would love it if you would share it with your friends and family and leave me a rating and review. If you'd like to learn more about what life coaching is, please schedule a free discovery call with me where we can work together through something that's causing you a problem. Just go to my website, seasons-coaching.com, and you can also find information about my Seasons of Joy one-on-one coaching program and my Seasons of Joy community. Have a joyful week, and I'll see you next time.